Hello, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. MJ here. Uh, I am going to do this video on Sybil Ludington and Molly Pitcher and about how people do history and how history shouldn't be just about the facts and how they're backed up with primary sources. There is also some storytelling involved. And it's okay to speculate on some of the things that aren't really known about, such as, like with Betsy Ross and the stars, how she came up with it. Just because stories are speculated on and and you can't verify some of the stories doesn't discount and pull somebody off the historical canvas. It's okay to speculate on some things that may or may not have been true. And same is true with Sybil Ludington. The story on her is that she rode 40 miles. That was longer than Dawes and Revere and some of the people that we know about. We know that that her ride was supposed to be 40 miles, and it was to warn her father, Colonel Henry Ludington, of the impending doom from the Loyalist and regular troops. And because of her ride, she was able to save most of the places that she rode to. Danbury was too late to save, but in the Battle of Ridgefield, they were able to drive the Loyalists and regulars off of Long Island, or to Long Island Sound and out of New York. Just because that there were multiple ways to spell Sybil's name. Her sister spelled it one way, Sybil spelled it another way. The historical record, you can find it as Cybil. That doesn't, and just because there's some speculative nature about what happened exactly, some of it, and some things are just not known. You have to fill in the pieces. It shouldn't take her off the historical canvas. Same too with Molly Pitcher. Now, what I have decided to do with Molly Pitcher, personally, the way I look at it anyway, is there's a Molly Pitcher, there's Molly Pitcher and there's a Molly Pitcher. Molly Pitcher, what they were they followed along the battles, and they would, a lot of them were wives, some were volunteers, but a lot of them were wives, and they would tend to their husbands and other soldiers' needs by bringing them water and things like that. And this Molly Pitcher, the one that's known as, although a lot of people think it's Mary Hayes, when her husband went down, he was operated a cannon. He was an artilleryman. And at the Battle of Monmouth, she took the place of her husband, who was a person. They took the ramrod and put it down the cannon, and put it down the cannon. The cannon. There was a sponge, and they would wet the sponge and put that down, put out the fires in there, and then clean them out with the other end, and that's so she took over for her husband who had fallen. Now we know this is true from two things. First of all, Joseph Plum Martin reported on the incident. Now he didn't say who it was, so we don't know that was Molly Hayes, but it was a Molly Pitcher, or a Molly Pitcher, not a Molly Pitcher or Molly Pitcher. But he didn't name the person, but he told of the incident, and she had a cannon shot come through her skirt, and didn't injure her, but probably scared her quite a bit, at the very least. And George Washington also asked who that woman was that was operating the cannon. Now, because Molly Pitcher didn't exist, a lot of people like to make the history untrue about it. But it's, there could have been other Molly Pitchers. Well, there were other Molly Pitchers, but this story could have also been about other people. And we need to tell about those people and tell the story of Molly Pitcher and what Molly Pitcher was. Not necessarily a person, but a Molly Pitcher. So another choice that it possibly could have been at Fort Washington, a woman named Margaret Corbin also took over for her husband who had been killed. So anyway, the best way to think about Molly Pitcher is there's Molly Pitcher and a Molly Pitcher. Molly Pitchers were real. Molly Pitcher is a catch-all for a bunch of women who followed along with the battles and their husbands in a lot of cases. So, when you're doing history, just be careful about not eliminating somebody from the historical record because you don't know anything or things have become myth on it. And that's really what I wanted to get out, especially with Molly Pitcher, because they existed. They did great work for what became the United States military, for the colonials. So during the Revolutionary War. So anyway, thank you.